What is a short story? Most of the references I found mentioned a short story being a brief work of narrative prose. A story with a fully developed theme, but significantly shorter and less elaborate than a novel. Why write a short story and not a novel? Well, novels are massive works that can take years to produce. You can publish and write a short story in a much shorter time, either a couple days, weeks, or months, depending on the length and effort that you put into it. Novels are not a good place to start because they could take so much time to write, edit, and publish. It's good to start with short stories because you can do so much more with it and get it done in a shorter time. And by do so much more with it, I mean you can explore one idea very, very deep within that short story in a very clear and decisive way. Short stories are a singular work of fiction that contain brief prose and a narrative that is shorter than a novel, usually a few episodes or scenes. And just like flash fiction, you can find a lot of value in the short story. Some of the most famous stories by authors are short stories. Here are a few of my favorites. The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, The Monkey's Paw by W.W. Jacobs, The Story of Your Life by Ted Chiang, The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, Brokeback Mountain by Annie Proulx, A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury, and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. These are just a handful of amazing short stories that are not only still spoken about decades or even 100 years later, but they are masterful works of art that have influenced the way that we read and write these stories in our lives. Based on my research of this topic and flash fiction, they share a lot of similarities in terms of structure, length, and purpose. They're short, fast narratives, one or two characters, limited space to work with locations and scenes, and they keep the setting simple and focus only on the setting to show off parts of the world. Because of the short length and restrictions you have to be very economic with how you use your space. A short story is best served with a singular plot and one or no subplots. If you add too much, it could hurt the potential of your short story. And although short stories are quick, they still need to follow the traditional narrative structures. Be sure to have an inciting incident, a midpoint, a climax, and a following action. Of course, short stories give you the freedom to explore and have fun with changing things up and experimenting with your narrative. You don't have to have all those things, but they are good to learn the process. Short stories are often overlooked, but creating a wonderful piece of art in such a short time shows off the skill of an author and the ability to make you care about a character or a setting or a location or the story in such a short time. That is a difficult thing to do, and it's fantastic and really impressive when authors can do it. So in terms of audio, a short story can be anywhere between 5 minutes all the way up to an hour. Obviously it depends on your word count, but that's about average. Here are some examples of word counts that I've seen. 1,000 to 7,500 and 1,500 to 10,000. I say anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000, but really it just depends on you, your definition, and how you do it. Think of how long your story needs to be. Can you get your ideas across to a reader in an effective way and be more efficient with it? So instead of writing a novel, perhaps try a collection of short stories and just take that idea that you got and make it into a short story instead of planning out a whole novel or a whole trilogy, because you may find that you can get it across just as effectively with that short story. My definition: smaller works of fiction that can be anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000 words in length, that contain full narratives with one or two characters as the focus. These stories are usually set in one location and focus on one main plot. All of my sources are linked below. Go ahead and be sure to check out the website because we just uploaded this blog onto the website. And check out our other videos about short fiction and the podcast that we have going on right now. Check out my book, Finish Your Story, if you need any advice or direction on how to be a healthier, creative person and to finish that draft that you're working on. And thank you so much and have a great day.